had a chance to visit the CSC recently for the Pharma.Aero event. So when we visited the Pharma Excellence Center, there we were told that due to the Russia-Ukraine war, cold chain shipments were stranded for nearly 40 days. Another one was stranded for 1 year due to the pandemic. So in scenarios like these, how critical is it to develop a cold chain shipment that can withstand longer durations?
This is very important for pharmaceutical product because these are unprecedented times. We see congestion, and then typically there's a lot of risks involved. If the product is exposed to temperature excursions, it's going to go to the dustbin. So CCT is very well aware of this, and we are actually putting in the market a complete variety of options to support these risks. But it is indeed very challenging for the industry, and it's not going to be over soon, I think.
And are there any solutions, the way that you would try and circumvent these problems?
We are in close collaboration with our customers, understanding typically they have trade lane validations. They have been validated for certain periods of time with a specific solution. We have seen that some of these solutions, due to the situation, the macroeconomic situation, the COVID, the war, etc., they are not sufficient. And then we collaborate with them to build up more protection. We have different product solutions that can be combined, extending the protection of the product. And then we were able to resolve some of that burden.
I'd also like to understand, how does the cold chain industry incorporate sustainability today in this day and age?
This is an interesting question, Manjula. So we hear very recently that sustainability is high on the radar. It's also one of our core values within the company. The product portfolio that we put in the market is completely passive. So we are really developing all new products with the high focus on sustainability, reuse, sustainable solutions that are environmentally friendly. Specifically on this product line behind me, we have recently launched a vacuum packing configuration which increases the payloads of the product, as such reducing freight costs, reducing warehouse and CO2 footprint. These are simple things we can do, but it's very important for the industry to be aware of that, and CCT is actually pioneering on that.
All right, you mentioned reusability. So if we can talk about the PCM reusability aspect, if you can elaborate on that a little.
The differentiator that CCT brings to the market is actually we manufacture our PCM in-house. It's a form-stable PCM, which means it's packed, as you can see in this one here. It has a different color per targeted temperature range. So they can be reused. They are sent back to our facilities where they are refurbished. We replace the carton as it's used. It cannot be reused, but it's actually refurbished for reuse, and that is actually tipping into that sustainability and reuse of PCMs.
You also mentioned capacity constraints as a challenge. So if you can just tell us a little about that.
With these situations, Ukraine, etc., the chance that your product gets blocked somewhere is very apparent. And we have seen that due to that situation, the freight market has exploded. In that perspective, CCT is now heavily focusing on our regional footprint. We are trying to launch the production of this product line in Latin America, where before we were exporting that from our US facility. So it's crucial that we have local inventory available to support our customers, and that's how we try to overcome freight constraints, because we see that some shipments are delayed. You cannot get on a train, and once it's on a vessel, there's limited chance you can change that. So we want to closely collaborate with our customers. Where do they need product? We monitor that with our supply chain teams, but it's a challenge today. Exactly.
And for this, as you mentioned, data is quite important. So what do you have to say about data collaboration when it comes to, plugging the gap?
You're touching there on a very important topic for the company as well. Digitalization is also high on our radar. The product behind you, our reusable end-of-air container, has technology built in that captures temperature, geofencing, a lot of data, which is then fed into our iCloud. And that is made available to our customers. They can track and trace their units across the world, because this is part of the product service. They need to know every time where it is, If something goes wrong, it's fed into the cloud. So data and tracking is key. We are also longer term, we are targeting the cell and gene industry. Their track and trace is even more important because patients need to get their treatment at a very specific time. Whenever something goes wrong, you want to know immediately to be able to anticipate on that. So this is high on our radar. Yeah.
And what kind of solutions do you have for the cell and gene industry? Like you just
For the moment, this is still in development phase because you're touching really on very extreme temperatures. For example, one of the manufacturers of the COVID vaccine, they were shipped in -70, -80. We have some solutions ready, but not to the extreme. So the company is now looking with our engineering team, our product development team, to see can we come up with something. And we are actually in a pilot product with one of our key customers on that.
the pandemic also increased the penetration of e-commerce. So can you tell us a little about CCT's innovations around this period to combat this?
Thank you for the question. We are very proud that we have recently launched an e-commerce platform. Company that we are partnering with is Cloudleaf. They facilitate, let's say, e-commerce for our customers globally. We have launched some customers in EMEA. US is now actually has started. We have a tremendous success because it's fairly easy. People go on our website, they see the product, they enter it. It's fully digitized. So this is a differentiator for us, and we are very proud that we can put this in the market.
The pandemic also exposed the need for a robust cold chain. So can you take us through how CCT performed during the pandemic?
The COVID has actually been a challenge for many of us, not only on the personal side, but also business-wise. CCT has actually collaborated in the US with Operation Warp Speed, which was a US-driven distribution network for COVID vaccines. We managed actually to set up a new site in Tennessee to support that distribution. So we were really heavily involved. We had teams on the ground 24/7 to support that. Also outside of US, because our company is headquartered in US, we were actually supporting our customers because the company is in business for more than 50 years. We were running a lot of customers supporting them with cold chain technology solutions. This came on top of it. So it has really pushed us to the limits. Luckily, we are quite agile as a company, and we were able to streamline and focus on the right things, that we could help people and getting over COVID.
All right. And how much of CCT's funding goes into developing cold chain innovations?
There is a fairly important portion of our revenue that goes into developing new products. I think we are looking to somewhere 20-25% minimum that we reinvest because our customers are also expecting that from us. We have in our portfolio close to 90% of the products are customized. So we don't want to come with standard products. We really want to talk with our customers what is needed. And that's why we are actually here at Air Cargo India to hear from the market where do we need to develop. So it's really key for us to walk and hear from the customers what is the need in order to come up with innovative solutions.
All right. And what are some of the biggest challenges in the cold chain industry today? If you can take us through.
One of the biggest challenges today is, I heard it with several talks here with customers at our booth this morning, is supply certainty. Because as you mentioned earlier in the interview, the freight constraints, the market is really averse to risk. The last thing you want to do is you have a shipment of vaccines or products available and it cannot be shipped due to a lack of cold chain material. So that is one of the biggest challenges which we are addressing today, evaluating our safety stocks, constant interaction with the customer service team, balancing priorities, etc. On the other hand, future-wise, when you talk on cell and gene, these products are being shipped at very extreme temperatures. They need to be shipped in time, so just in time, making sure that the product's cold chain solutions are tailored to focus on the right temperature during the journey up until the patient. That's one of the big challenges. You cannot come with a one size fits all. As you can see, we have several products here, and what we want to do is really understand what are the product characteristics of the medication to come up with a tailor-made solution.
And what are CCT's long-term goals? Maybe 10 years down the line, what would CCT be like?
What we aspire is actually becoming a thought leader on cold chain technologies. We are already quite long in business, but we want to position our products globally. We are heavily focusing on growth outside of US. The company was founded in US 50 years ago. With the adoption of the product line behind me, we have grown significantly in EMEA. Reason for being here at Air Cargo India, this is a huge market for us. So we were really pleased to see a lot of interaction with customers. So we want to grow globally, and the company over the last 2 years, despite the COVID, we have seen significant growth.
And also, when it comes to the cold chain industry overall, what do you think the scene is going to be like over the next 10 years? How is it going to evolve?
It's going to move into much more strict temperature control. As you know, the climate change is happening around us, so extreme weather conditions will be there. Product shipments of medication will be exposed to very extreme temperatures. The challenge that's going to be, we need to come up with a solution which is sustainable and can handle these extremes. Because when your product is sitting on tarmac, all of a sudden there's something happening. Your product is there; it needs to be protected. It needs to stay in the right temperature range for the patient. So that's what we will need to focus on.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. My pleasure.